We are just days away from Admirals playoff hockey. I'm Admirals host Nicole Sedivy, joined by Milwaukee Admirals radio announcer Aaron Sims. Aaron, thanks for joining me.
My pleasure, Nicole. Looking forward to it.
Me too. I'm excited to pick your brain about this best of 5 Central Division semifinal coming up with the Manitoba Moose. Of course, we'll start from the beginning. The first 2 games are here at home at the Panther Arena. The Admirals have played them pretty even so far, 5-5-2 overall. They won 1 more game on the road than here at home. So again, like I said, even. Do you see home ice advantage playing a significant factor for either club in this series?
I do, actually. Manitoba has won 25 of its 41 games on home ice. They're just barely over 500, 16, 15, and 5 on the road. So that is going to play a little bit. But what you said, the Admirals winning only 2 games on home ice against Manitoba this season. It's a little startling, although you take into consideration a couple of those games were early in the year, including one in November where they had 60 shots on goal. So home ice advantage, I think, will be a big factor. But again, being said, 3 of the 9 losses that Manitoba had on home ice this year in regulation were to Milwaukee.
Sure.
So it's a much better Milwaukee team as the season has gone on. Manitoba has been solid all season. I think it's going to be a great series.
And you mentioned that loss early on in November when the team was on a bit of a down, that 60-shot game. I'm sure it still haunts them, but it can tend to be a bit of an anomaly game. But Manitoba is good at getting a lot of shots on net. They have that D-core that comes up in the D-zone, makes that rush, creates those offensive opportunities for consistent lines. How are the Admirals going to manage that?
Well, you're exactly right. The defensemen are fantastic for Manitoba. They all jump into the play. As a matter of fact, Manitoba employs on 1 power play unit 3 defensemen. That's pretty much unheard of when you got Leon Gavanka, Declan Chisholm, and Ville Heinola, 3 highly skilled defensemen back there. So the Admirals are going to have to worry about that. But Manitoba shoots from everywhere. They were 4th in the league this year in shots per game, and they don't allow a lot of shots. They allow the fewest shots on average, about 25.5 per contest. So the Admirals are going to have to figure out where the puck is going to. Manitoba does a great job crashing the net, getting those loose pucks and getting second, third opportunities. The Admirals need to limit those second and third opportunities by getting on those pucks. They need to have a lot more puck possession too, because when the shot differential is that great and you're not allowing that many shots, clearly the other team has the puck a lot of the time. So the Admirals need to make sure that they get the puck and do some good things with it, like they did in the second to last meeting between these teams when the Admirals won 7-2 at home.
Sure, and you mentioned it. Manitoba limits the shots, but you said it on your show. The Admirals get quality opportunities against Manitoba, and they tend to convert on them. How do they keep that going?
Well, a lot of teams have been converting against Manitoba. If there is a weakness for this Manitoba Moose, and every team does have a weakness, but the biggest weakness could be the goaltending. The save percentage is just over 90% with the guys who are playing. If you throw in Arvid Holm, who hasn't been dressing for a while, they're at about 89%. That's not very good. Their number 1 guy, Mikhail Burden, has a .903 save percentage. He has 4 shutouts this season, but a .903 save percentage. Among goaltenders who have played 24 games in the league this year, in the top 20 when it comes to goals against average, he has the 2nd worst save percentage among those goaltenders. So the Admirals need to pepper the goaltender, get after Mikhail Burden. He's a fantastic puck handler, maybe the best puck handler we've seen in the American Hockey League in my time, in 17 years. The Admirals need to figure out a way to get into the offensive zone, get a couple of chances on each possession, and pepper him, because, again, a .903 save percentage is not that great.
Yeah, and let's touch on the Manitoba power play a bit. They've found success against the Admirals this season.
Specifically.
Yes, nearly 30%, right? What do you want to see from the penalty kill?
Well, and there too, what they do is they possess the puck and they shoot from everywhere. You got to get on that puck. The Admirals are outmanned. It's a 5-on-4, right? So the Manitoba Moose will get 2 guys after the puck. They'll drop it back to the point. You have 3 defensemen who are mobile, who can shoot the puck, who can move it around very well. A great quarterback on top in Declan Chisholm, and guys like Heinola and Gavanka that can shoot as well. So Admirals need to get to those loose pucks. When the shots come through on Devin Cooley, we're presuming, for the playoffs, depending on what happens in Nashville now.
Right.
Devin Cooley needs to smother the puck, or the Admirals need to get on those rebounds. That's the big key on the Admirals penalty kill this time around. As you mentioned, 28.3% Manitoba was, or 19% overall, but nearly 30% against the Admirals. That's a problem spot the Admirals need to worry about, and the Admirals were in the bottom 3rd this year in the penalty kill.
Yeah. Parent club Nashville made the NHL playoffs. You mentioned that injury to Juuse Saros, pulling Connor Ingram up. We don't know when we'll be receiving help, right?
No.
Depending on how deep they'll go. Devin Cooley, the number 1 guy here in Milwaukee, is he up for the challenge?
He's going to have to be. Devin has a save percentage right around 90%, just under 90%. But that being said, it's tough for a goaltender to get into a rhythm when he plays 1 out of every 5 or 1 out of every 6 games, and that's been the case this year. Connor Ingram led the league in minutes played. Connor Ingram led the league in saves. Connor Ingram led the league in games. Devin Cooley did not get a lot of work this season, so he's going to have to be up to the challenge. I think it was a great step the way the Admirals rallied around him in the season finale against Rockford. He had 29 saves against Rockford. The 2 goals that beat him were on the power play. The team did a great job of clearing the front against the Ice Hogs. The Ice Hogs are very similar to Manitoba in the fact that they'll shoot from everywhere, they shoot in volume, they keep going. The Admirals did a good job minimizing those second chances, clearing the pucks, keeping the front clean for Devin Cooley. He needs to get some swagger, he needs to get some mojo. It would be great if the Admirals score early in these games because that makes him feel a little more confident, a little more in control.
Yep, scoring early in the game. The messaging from head coach Carl Taylor has been consistent all season.
Yep.
He wants the team to put together a complete 60 minutes of hockey. Sometimes they get off to a slow start, maybe in the first period. Are you seeing a complete 60 minutes out of this team at this point?
It's getting better, but 3 of the last 4 have been troublesome. The first periods in 3 of the last 4 games. The game when they won in Chicago, they beat the Wolves 3-1. That was kind of a okay start.
Yeah.
The others were not very good at all, including one against Manitoba. So the Admirals need to come out flying right away. I'm not saying they need to score 2, 3, 4 goals, but they do need to come out and put on a good show and limit the shots and get some shots on goal, get into the offensive zone, maybe draw a penalty or 2 and get on the power play and try to get that thing working. Yeah, big start, a good start, especially in the playoffs, especially at home in the first round in the division semifinals is going to be big for Milwaukee.
Sure, and you have Captain Cole Snyder, Winnipeg native Cody Glass. These guys have had success against Manitoba. They're the top point getters on the team this season in the regular season. In addition to them, who are the key players for you in this series?
Well, Cole Smith, and Carl Taylor mentioned that Cole Smith and Cody Glass were 2 of the guys driving this team over the last couple of months. Cole Smith has had a fantastic, and this is technically his rookie season, 21 goals for the native of Brainerd, Minnesota. He played junior hockey near Winnipeg, so he's familiar with that environment. He had probably the goal of the year in Winnipeg earlier this season, so he has been a huge, huge player, not only on the penalty kill, but this year his offense has blossomed. He has shown great speed, a great stride. He's been magnificent. And then on the blue line, you got to look at guys like Matt Donovan, these guys who have been there a little bit. Alex Biega, 7 years ago with Utica, had a great run in the playoffs, 23 games. You try to lean on some playoff experience when you get, especially in the first couple of games. That being said, there's not a lot of players in the American Hockey League that have a lot of playoff experience right now because we haven't had playoffs the last 2 seasons.
Exactly.
So where is that going to come from? Fortunately for the Admirals, they've kind of been in playoff mode since December the 2nd. So every point has been precious to them. They're going to need that kind of mentality, which they've skated with for 4 months now. They're going to need that to continue and go forward.
Sure. You've watched a lot of Admirals hockey over the years. When is the last time you were this excited about a collective group of guys heading into the Calder Cup playoffs?
Oh boy, well, you take away 2 years ago when there was no Calder Cup playoffs. It's been a long time coming for the Admirals. They haven't won a playoff series since 2011. It's going to be a big moment when they do. Can they do it against this Manitoba team? That 2011 team was fantastic. It was stacked. I look kind of the same way. I'm curious to see how Devin Cooley performs because that's going to be the key. You get in the playoffs, a lot of it comes down to the goaltending.
Yes.
So it's Devin Cooley's show. He's going to finally get the chance to run with it. Everybody dreams of that chance to run with it. Here's Devin Cooley's chance.
What are your expectations for the series?
Well, I'd be wrong to say anything but the Admirals in 3, right? So
There
you
you
have
go.
to say Admirals in 3.
Admirals in 3.
But you know what? It's been a tight series all season long. As you mentioned, the Admirals have won 5 of the 12. 3 of the games have been decided in overtime or a shootout, with Manitoba winning 2 of those. So I think it's going to be a close series. We haven't heard yet as we're doing this, but Mark Morrison has done a great job coaching Manitoba this year. At one point, they had, I think, 5 NHL roster players on their team, which is very little. They were hit hard by COVID around the new year and all of that. So Manitoba has done a fantastic job. Whoever they've plugged in has been able to play the way that they want to play. The Admirals need to play the way they want to play, and it's a butting of heads and all of that, and it's going to be an interesting series. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That it will, and it all begins Friday
Looking
here
forward
at
to it.
Panther Arena. You heard it here first. Admirals in 3. Thank you so much for joining me.
My
Aaron.
pleasure, Nicole. Thank you.
All right, Admirals playoff hockey coming up this Friday at Panther Arena.